It's test 1, 2. Test 1, 2. Good.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience. I know it's a little bit after 7 o'clock already. The board anticipates beginning the meeting around 7:20 or just a little bit after, so just a few more minutes. Thank you so much.
I now call this regular meeting of the Board of Education to order at 7:20 p.m. Please call the roll. One moment, please. Thank you for your patience.
Ms. Pearson,
Present.
Mr. Schubert,
Here.
Ms. McCall,
Present.
Ms. Bennett,
Here.
Mr. Carpenter,
Here.
Ms. Haley,
Here.
Ms. Stanford.
Here.
With 7 present, we have a quorum.
We will now take a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. As we start each board meeting, it bears reminding that the mission of Rockford Public Schools is to collaboratively engage all students in an equitable first-class education for a changing world. Before going any further, I want to thank Kim Pedersen and Aaron Hill, who are working behind the scenes to produce the board's broadcast via YouTube, live stream, and Comcast Channel 20. I also wish to welcome Superintendent's Advisory Representative, Ruth, from Auburn High School. Ruth has an extremely long name, and she is happy with simply being called Ruth. Thank you. We will now recognize and celebrate the Rockford University Education Pathway cohort, followed by an outstanding contribution of our students and staff. Mr. Pope and Ms. Ashley.
All right, I have to say, this is the best day of the year next to graduation, when we get to come together and recognize these amazing young adults as they get ready to leave our high schools, enter Rockford University, and come back and teach in Rockford Public Schools. It is my honor and privilege to get to be a part of this program and to recognize these students every year. The Rockford University Education Pathway has been a game changer for Rockford Public Schools in teacher recruitment. We know without a doubt that the best people to teach in Rockford Public Schools are our students, and the ability to work with our students and provide this pathway and give them an opportunity to come back and be teachers at Rockford Public Schools is just such important work. When we look at this program year to date, or program to date, this school year, we have 30 graduates of this program teaching in our schools, with 40% of those teachers filling hard-to-fill positions. We have about another 60 that are currently in the program that will be graduating over the next 3 years. And tonight, we get to honor 29 Rockford Public School students to join those cohorts and the ranks of Rockford Public School teachers. This cohort will be the largest cohort to date in the history of the program, and we have representation from all 5 high schools across the district. I couldn't be more proud. I've got to give a quick thank you to some of the people behind the scenes that truly make this program work. To our amazing pathway teachers, Greg Kirchhoff, Catherine Plessner, Tia LaJonica, Nicole Frazier, Samantha Wright, and Kim Campbell. Their work with these students is truly the reason these students are here today, and I cannot say thank you enough to them. Ashley Thomas, who coordinates all of the work behind the scenes, helps the students with their applications and make sure they cross the finish line, and Rockford University, who provides this amazing opportunity. Thank you to our partners. So now on to the fun part. Let's recognize some amazing young adults. So I'm going to read off some names. They're going to come up. Ashley is going to provide them with their scholarship, and then they're going to come around and say hello to the board. So without further ado, Dakota Adams. Amelia Berdusky. Annika Brown. River Burfield. Ruby Cardova. Natalia Carrillo. Azucena Cook. Andy Elder. Haley Fridley. Gabriella Guess. Paige Hartsfield. Sarah Hijazi. Antoine Jackson. Fiona James. Justin Lindenmeyer. Kiana Marks. Juana Marquez. Alexis Medina. Denisha Patterson. Ricardo Perez. Diane Pham. Cindy Pinedo Belmontes. Daisy Ramos. Madeline Renegal. Aisha Smith. Natasha Tock-Monroe. Braxton Walston. Mackenzie Wydell. And Alondra Zarate. To the students being recognized, please know that we are excited to watch your journey over the next 4 years, and we cannot wait to welcome you back to the classrooms as certified teachers in RPS. Congratulations.
Ms. Stanford or Ms. Haley is now in your hands.
Good evening. Tonight, we are excited to honor RPS's 205's outstanding students and staff and celebrate their great achievements. We begin with athletics. Guilford High School student Anjanae Haywood qualified for state in girls wrestling by placing third in the Geneseo sectional. She had an overall record of 27-8, posting podium finishes at each regular season tournament she wrestled in. Congratulations, Anjanae and Coach Rashad Hyder. Please come forward to be recognized. Okay. Moving on, Auburn High School Knights, under the leadership of Coach Navage Abel and assistant coach Linda Green, had another great season as the Scholastic Bowl team dominated the competition in the regional and sectional of the IHSA tournament. The team consisted of Mahi Patel, Mahi Shah, Aaron Eshelman, Ben Kendler, Luke Schneider, Jamie Fisher, Rishi Salagrama. This team did an amazing job throughout the season, but came up a bit short downstate. This is the second year in a row this team has competed downstate, which is quite an accomplishment. Auburn School Basketball Team, we are very proud of you. Coaches and team, please come forward to be recognized. Good job, Auburn. Congratulations. Congratulations. Good job. Congratulations. Good job, Coach. Next, congratulations to Julia Currian from Marshall Middle School, who won the 2025 Regional Spelling Bee. After an impressive face-off for first place, Julia spelled crinoline and promontory for the win. Next, she'll head to Washington, D.C. to compete at the Scripps National Spelling Bee in May. Julia, please come forward. If you're here, good luck. We'll be rooting for you. Congratulations, good job. Good job, Julia. And congratulations to the class of 2025 Golden Apple Award recipients. Jelena Holcomb is a kindergarten teacher at STEAM Academy at Haskell, where she's been the past 5 years of her 21 years of teaching. In the last 10 years, Jelena has seen many curricular changes in the district. She works to create a balance between explicit instruction and discovery learning, and to not just follow the scripts, but to connect the new curricular to prior resources that would enhance the learning experience. Congratulations, Jelena. Also, congratulations to Kelly Kim. She is a special education resource teacher for Cherry Valley Elementary's 5th grade and 2nd graders, where she's been 13 of her 15 years as an educator. At 8 years old, this future teacher created a neighborhood summer camp with games, crafts, story time, a lunch menu, and flyers. Kelly realized she was meant to be a full-time teacher. She landed a long-term substitute position and then filled a need for a special education teacher. Congratulations, Kelly. And next, we want to congratulate Lisa Robinson, who is a kindergarten teacher at Rolling Green Elementary, where she's been teaching 6 of her 18 years. She was nominated by students and parents. Lisa creates a classroom community that encourages growth and kindness in everyone. She strives to make every child feel valued and supported. Lisa's strengths are each paired with a 4th grader who they meet once a week to read or explore together and practice social skills. Congratulations, Lisa. You're welcome. These 3 educators will be recognized at the Golden Apple Awards banquet on Friday, April 25th. And we want to thank them for coming forward to be congratulated in their Golden Apple Award. Congratulations again, everyone, and thank you for coming, and have a good night. That does not mean everybody leaves. That concludes the recognition, but we do have a
Sorry. Okay, so
Ms. Stanford,
sorry.
I'm sorry for the interruption. Would you like the speakers to go now? It's just 4, or you want to proceed with the presentation? It was just.
It's up to you. I think this was on the agenda first, wasn't it?
It was. Thank you. Continue on.
Okay. I'm so proud to introduce a very important group of stakeholders. This group evolved from an affinity space created by Dr. Reed into the amazing group that it is today. There's no end to the potential that this group has. They're beneficial not only to each other, but to our male students of color throughout the district. I would like you to meet Brothers for Change.
All righty, so I just wanted to tell you all, first, thanks to our board and our superintendent for allowing us to have affinity spaces. Many times the loudest voice, yes, it's always the one you hear the most, but it's not always the most impactful in most situations. I want to remind you a united voice is very important. These brothers here, although they represent probably 1% or less of education, their impact is very powerful and it can't be measured. So I'm thankful to have a united group of brothers here, Hispanic brothers, and a lot of them are not here today, and we're not here to talk about the problem. We're here to frame the solution. So I'm going to introduce Mr. Ragland, the spokesman for BAGS, and we're going to go through our behavior, attendance, and grades presentation.
Good evening. My name is Rags, and I just want to tell you a little bit about how we came together. We came together first initially to support each other, and the more we got to talking, we realized that we were all from different buildings, but the more we realized that in each building, the largest building in each room, the largest room in each building was room for improvement. And so we went to work on trying to improve, and we did that under the benchmarks of BAGS in behavior, attendance, grades, and social emotional. And I'm going to call up a gentleman now, actually 2 gentlemen now, and they're going to talk about behaviors, and they're going to address how behaviors is tied into student leadership and how student leadership can actually curb the challenges that we're having with behaviors.
Good evening, board members, district leaders, and community partners. My name is Kevin Bruce, and I'm here representing the B in BAGS, which stands for behavior. I represent behavior, the foundation, because without it, classrooms collapse. But with it, students rise and teachers stay. What I bring to this work is simple, yet it is very essential. I lead with the 3 C's: calm, confidence, and care. Calm in the midst of chaos. Confidence so that our students feel safe. And care because every single child in RPS 205 deserves dignity. I hold high expectations. I build on relationships, not punishment. I show up daily. That's my presence and that's my consistency. and I make sure that the students know they are not a mistake. They are the beginning of greatness. This is what I do now. This is what I will continue to do. And together, this is what we are building. Let's give Rockford students the structure, the mentorship, and the belief they deserve. Thank you all.
Good evening. How you doing? Good. Just to piggyback off of, excuse my voice, I'm a little hoarse, but just to piggyback off of what Mr. Bruce said, everybody know what behavior is in the school, what it's all about, what it leads to in the hallways, in the classrooms, you know, against the teachers, everything. Everybody know. But I will lead you guys to understand that myself and the gentleman behind me, we work with the 3 Ps, which is passion, purpose, and patience. You know, we have a passion for our kids. We want to make sure that they're educated. We want to make sure that they're getting the right education. We want to make sure they're doing things they're supposed to do in the classroom. We're making sure that, you know, they're doing the right, do what they're supposed to be doing. The patience. All of us have patience because you know it takes time to establish a change with behavior. It takes time. Behavior is something that you learn. It's a learned behavior, you know. And then the patient part is what I'm saying. You know, we all got to be patient if we want to create change, you know. And those are the things that I like, you know, about what I do here, what I do with the school district, what I do at West, is when we walk in the classroom, we understand what we got to change, what we got to do, and how the kids respect and react to when we walking in as a man of color, and how that different atmosphere, how they settle down in what they do. Okay? Thank you.
So we not only hope the work that these brothers are doing with behaviors are impactful in our schools and classrooms, but we want to carry that work to our community, our families, and these scholars' careers. Because behaviors do not stop in the class. We are here to make a better society of scholars that are ready and able for and equipped for what they're going into. So we're not going to stop behaviors there. Attendance, Mr. Ragland.
So the next benchmark that I want to talk with you guys about was the attendance. And one of the things that the gentlemen came together and we talked about it and we just started to go to work on was creating a space for kids to feel valued in the educational setting. And they're going to share some things about ways that they're going to make kids feel valued in our workplace.
Good evening, everyone. Excuse me for bending down like that. My name is Virgil Hobson, and I'm here representing the A team, A in bags, for the Brothers for Change. The men standing with me today represent parent liaisons, human resources, family community engagement, and young leaders in our community. We all have overcome adversity on our journey toward success, and we continue to do so. We represent leaders who can connect and relate to students and families and help them recognize the value of education, of the education that's offered in our schools. We understand the positive impact of home visits, whether it's to share good news or to address concerns. We support cultural relevant field trips. We are very intentional in our support of that. Field trips like we just had a little over a week ago with the Black College Expo, where we took close to 80 students to Chicago State University in partnership with 100 Strong. Also in support of trips like Wabongo, where they took a group of 50 students that they've been doing for years. We support things like that to expose students that look like us to higher education.
Good afternoon, everyone. The man beside me and the man behind me, we came together as a group to help everyone understand that change is needed in our community, and many of us grew up in this community. We went to these schools, and we understand attendance is a big issue in this community. We aim to create initiatives such as pop-up shops, continue to move forward with the bags program. We understand that many kids need to see more of us in these communities, in these schools. They need to see us when they walk in the buildings. They need to see us when, I'm also a coach in the district, let me throw that out there. They need to see us actually promoting and growing different activities in these schools. We aim to not only talk about things, but we also understand that it's time to build more things. We need to stop trying to build sandcastles and start building foundations that will lead our students to learn, grow, and build upon. Thank you.
Right. Good job. And as you heard about attendance, we had a representation from the NAACP, the president. And we always talk about attendance doesn't stop just getting to school. Attendance is being engaged in an education process that is reflective of your future experience. So I don't want attendance to just be I got you there. It's that I engage you while you were there. So we're going to move on to grades.
So grades is the third benchmark that we looked at as a group that we want to affect change in. And because we know that grades is a scoreboard for the students, the teachers, as well as admin and the district as a whole. So one of the things is these gentlemen are going to come up and talk about ways to get students excited about grades, get students excited about learning, and bringing the joy factor back into the classroom.
Hi, board members. My name is Frank Gordon, and I'm here to stand in representation of the Initiative for Grades. We all know well the problems that we have with grades in our district, but most of all, there's a decline in student motivation and effort ties to grades. So how are we going to solve this issue, right? So our goal is to rebuild trust in the grading process that's fair, motivating, and culturally relative. We need to increase student ownership of academic progress from K through 12, and to reduce grading-related disparities across racial, socioeconomic, and learning backgrounds. So what are our strategies? What are our solutions? Well, the Brothers of Change plan to implement growth-based grading models. Okay, I know we've all had controversy around the standard-based grading, but we want to reimagine grading as a motivational, student-centered tool, not a punitive system. We want to develop a student voice advisory council on grading. And in that council, what we plan to do is to create a student voice panel where it's facilitated discussions where the students are given students give the feedback on grading experiences and propose the improvements. This builds student-adult partnerships, and it builds pride and momentum, progress, not perfection. We want to revise grading policies that penalize struggle. And what we also talked about is providing ongoing equity-centered professional development for educators. So in that, what we plan to do is create an equity-driven mentorship program where we will be in the classrooms as ongoing mentors to support their culturally relevant experiences for a more practical level. But at the heart of this initiative is the focus on increasing student ownership of academic progress through intentional equity-driven practices. When students see their grades as meaningful reflections of their learning and potential, they are more likely to engage, invest, and achieve.
I'm gonna bend over for this, but I'm gonna give you the AP version of what he said, because I'm used to having quick conversations. Grades gotta mean something to the kids. And if they don't mean something, then they're not gonna go ahead and achieve them. So I'm saying that as a Rockford person that's been here for 40 years. I'm saying that for a person who went through Rockford Public Schools. Grades needed to mean something for me at some point in time, whether I was trying to play sports. But as we look at the next generation, grades might mean something for different, because my son didn't play a single sport, but his grades meant he didn't have to have college loans, and I did. So that's an advantage that he has. So making sure that the people in the community are also understanding what the grades mean and how that empowers them and values them in their life.
just in conclusion for grades, these brothers are talked about grades in a way that it does not scare the scholar from the table. We have to bring the scholar back to the table. And grades have to impact and reimagine, again, college, career, and beyond. And college is attainable for scholars no matter how they look, no matter where they live, no matter their home setup. And if we begin to believe in those three pillars again and act on them, we will see grades that does just what the brother said. It means something to our scholars. And last but not least, social emotional.
As he said, last but not least, the last thing we looked at, which is the last letter of the bags, which is the social emotional, which the S stands for. These gentlemen that I'm calling up next are going to talk about ways that we're going to train scholars to solve conflicts peacefully. I think a big part of our problem is that those things escalate and go other places, as well as other things. So they're going to come up and share their thoughts in that regard.
Good evening, good evening. I'm Dr. Steele. This is Dr. Wilson. We have our brothers in the back. We're going to talk to you briefly about some things that we have worked on and some things that we're doing and implementing as we speak. So one thing that we realize is that we all need groups, right? But what do these groups look like? And for us, a big piece was it on how do our groups formulate to make sure we're reaching the population of the Black and brown and all students. And so one thing we did was we have a Keep It Real circle. What does that Keep It Real circle mean? What does that do, Mrs. Steele, Dr. Steele? So I'll say this. It works on identity, works on emotions, and also, too, we give a platform for students to be their authentic selves. As adults, some of us still struggle to be our authentic selves. And for me, it's a battle every other day. But I'm still working and I'm still fighting. We have a group called We Focus, meaning we have workshops, and we have other things for students to work on, music, art, and also poetry to work on. And so it's a really, really, really piece where it comes to heart for me, at least, in us. We have our Future Leaders group. Leadership development skills, and this group, we really want to build this active listening, and we want to ultimately have group leaders. And these group leaders will actually eventually lead our groups. And so this is a really, really critical piece to give our kids the autonomy that they need to grow and learn and be successful adults. We have the movement for the mind. This incorporates yoga, dance, and going back and forth, really understanding that we can share our stories and also, too, let our stories keep us motivated to stay in school and also learn from one another. And at this time, I'm going to give your attention to Dr. Wilson. And he's going to lecture our home with what are we going to do different. He's going to talk more about assessment. What does that look like? Well, Dr. Wilson has the answers, and I'm going to let you have it. Go ahead.
Good evening. As he said, I'm Dr. Wilson, and I would like to also say that I'm a product of RPS. So when we talk about assessment, one of the things that we want to do, are doing with our young men and young women, assessment normally means telling somebody what they can't do. We want to assess telling a student what they can do, because it's through assessment where students can discover other areas where they're strong at. They may not think that they're good in a particular area, but assessment will bring that out. Assessment will also help us to be able to identify and close any deficiencies or any gaps in the student's education. And once we discover those deficiencies, what we not only want to do is close the gap, we want to keep the gap closed, but then we want to help that student create capacity so they can learn other methods of, one, interacting with each other, interacting in the classroom, and having a different mindset when it comes to their education. And lastly, assessment will help not only us as Brothers of Change, but it will also help educators to make informed decisions on how we best need to help our students. And once we can help our students beyond levels where they're at, we get a holistic approach of the student where they become a better student. They're prepared for high school and beyond, and then they become a valuable member of the community. Thank you.
So as we close out, I just want to remind you, when you're resolving conflict peacefully for families and communities that have lived in and through this, it can't be something you haphazardly do. It has to be part of our planning. It has to be in our planning and scheduling. It has to be a part of what we do, not only in the school, but we have to take it home. Because if we don't wrap around the scholar, we lose the scholar. Wrap around is not during the instructional hour, but I have certified people. It is when that scholar walks out the door on a 3-day weekend, on spring break, in the summer. That is when we lose the momentum of our scholars. So we must wrap around that scholar's every movement. Every district across America that is urban is looking for just what you saw. They do not have a reflective population. You don't find a diamond just running around with the rocks. You all have a diamond here. You have brothers 50 plus that are educated. They represent the community. They come from all stakeholders. They're presidents. They're part of universities. We can no longer ignore them when we make our plans. They need to be at the table because although they're small, they represent an impact that we've not seen in Rockford, Chicago, Detroit, anywhere you go urban. So I want to thank this group, and we meet consistently. They get tired of me. They get tired of Mr. Ragland, but they show up, and I'm a little guy, and they make me feel big. So I love these brothers. So thank you all for letting us share today.
So as the stakeholder committee chair, people, Kim and I have some words in conclusion.
So we want to first thank you all for coming out and representing and letting us know what you guys are doing in the community. You definitely represented this evening, and we appreciate it. We forget about the old saying, and I think we forget that it takes a village to raise a child. And you guys are from our community. You're from our schools. Your fathers, your brothers, your uncles, your cousins, and it takes you all to raise our kids in this community. We got to remember that we have to stand behind one another. Remember our history. There's a powerful history behind what you guys are doing. So I went off script a little bit, but I can't wait to see what you guys have coming forward in the future. We look forward to you being leaders in our community, in our classrooms, in our cities, and across the region. So thank you all, and continue to keep up the good work.
Thank you so much, Ms. Haley, Ms. Stanford. You never cease to amaze me representing the Stakeholders Committee. Thank you. This is absolutely awesome. Good job to the Brothers for Change of RPS 205. I thank you so much for representing in the manner that you do. I see so many familiar faces that's making a difference in our community, and our community needs to see this. You don't always do things to be seen, but you need to be seen doing some things. And we certainly appreciate your efforts and everything that you do, the sacrifice. I know of the children that we have in our community, so I know what you're faced with every day. And it takes a unique person to have what a friend of mine calls stick-to-itiveness, to stick to it when it gets rough. So we certainly appreciate your efforts. Ms. Stanford, does this conclude you? You have more?
I can't say enough how excited I am about all of you and what you're doing. I'm so proud to have anything to do with you, to just be associated with you. You are groundbreaking. What you are doing is huge. No one else is doing this. And our community and our kids are going to be the better for it. So thank you again.
Thank you. I got pretty excited, as you could tell. Moving right along. We are now on to the petition and communication portion of our meeting, where we invite the public to make comments. The board will not respond to the comments at this time. If it is appropriate, you will be contacted in a timely manner by staff. Each speaker would be allowed no more than 3 minutes to address the board. It is not appropriate to discuss matters that will otherwise be confidential in such open meetings. If you will look to your left, you will see 2 digital clocks. One shows the total time allotted to public comments, and one shows the total time for each speaker. We thank you for your cooperation with our guidelines. We will start with Ms. Nina Giannagali, followed by Ms. Angel Brown.
Good evening, members of the school board and fellow community members. My name is Nina Gianangeli, and I am a Rockford resident and an educator in a neighboring district. On behalf of the Eliminate Racism 815's Education Committee Third Action Goal team, I want to acknowledge the dedicated service of the outgoing superintendent, Dr. Aaron Jarrett. We thank him for his years of commitment to our students. As our community looks ahead to selecting a new superintendent, our team would like to highlight an issue of paramount importance: literacy, and ensuring equitable access to literacy instruction for all of our students, especially students of color and other marginalized students. Research consistently shows that the leadership at the very top of a school district plays a pivotal role in shaping student outcomes, including literacy. The superintendent sets the vision and priorities for our school, and their focus on literacy sends a clear message throughout the district. Our Education Committee's Third Action Goal team is dedicated to working collaboratively with the school board to research and present information on how our school district can achieve grade level literacy for every student. We believe that the next superintendent must be someone who understands the critical importance of literacy and has a proven commitment to equity. This leader must be prepared to champion initiatives that address systemic challenges in literacy access for students of color, ensure equitable allocation of resources to support literacy across all schools, and foster school cultures that value and support the literacy development of every single student. The selection of our next superintendent presents a unique opportunity to make a profound and lasting impact on the lives of our students. Therefore, on behalf of the Eliminate Racism 815's Education Committee, our question for the school board is: how will the school board ensure that the search and selection process for our new superintendent prioritizes candidates with a demonstrated commitment to and expertise in improving literacy for all students, particularly students of color and marginalized groups? How will the board actively involve our committee's research and insights into this crucial decision? Thank you for your time and consideration in this vital matter.
Thank you.
Hello, board members. My name is Angel Brown. A couple of weeks ago, my son, he's in 2nd grade, the little girl stabbed a pencil and said, "This how many times I'm going to shoot you." I reached out to the principal and talked about the situation. The little girl was moved to the across the room or whatever the situation is. Then my son didn't want to go to school, so I did reach out to the principal and asked them, can I observe the classroom? The answer was no. And I am an educational surrogate with the Illinois Board of Education, and I would like to know why I'm not able to observe the classroom. COVID is over. Who's finna come in the classroom and act a fool and mess up my what I represent in the community? It just don't make no sense. Is this a policy or is this something that was just made up? No one want to receive the railroad treatment. I'm tired of coming up here. All students have a right to have a free education as well as being in a clean, safe environment. I would like to know, Mr. Phillips, if I can have 3 years of test results for the air quality test for Haskell, if you have them. And another thing I want to talk about is mental health. Mental health do affect your overall well-being, like your emotions and feelings. How do you think my son feel as an 8-year-old boy going into a traumatic situation every day of having to see a same person that bullies him. If it was my black son doing that to a white student, what you think would have happened to my son? So all I'm saying is that the board members that's up there, I feel if your W-2 job is interfering with what you need to do for us as the community, you need not to be speaking in the microphone or twiddling your toes. It's a lot of work that needs to be done. And I'm gonna keep standing up for my son no matter what. And I'm gonna sit down when I'm ready. And I still got a lot of standing to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Ellen Almer, followed by Ricky Naylor.
Hi, good evening. I obviously came here to speak tonight, but I think I really came to see what just happened. That was extraordinary, the things that are happening here. It just, oh man, it's very touching to see this. And to see the kids who are going to be future teachers here, staying in the district. That was worth it. But on Sunday, I was alarmed to hear from an immigration attorney that RPS has no policy protecting our children who are in danger from immigration and customs enforcement. So I was heartened to see on the agenda tonight that there is a draft policy, your agenda item D6, or is it 6D, D6? Because I trust that each and every one of us that's here tonight is interested in the safety and well-being of all of our children in this district. But here's an essay to reinforce the idea of protecting our children. Among the most accomplished and fabled tribes of Africa, no tribe was considered to have warriors more fearsome or more intelligent than the mighty Maasai. It's perhaps surprising then to learn the traditional greeting that passed between the Maasai warriors, Kaseri and Ingera, one would always say to the other. It means, and how are the children? It is still the traditional greeting among the Maasai, acknowledging the high value that the Maasai always place on their children's well-being. Even warriors with no children of their own would always give the traditional answer, all the children are well. Meaning, of course, that peace and safety prevail, that the priorities of protecting the young, the powerless, are in place, that Maasai society has not forgotten its reason for being and its proper functions and responsibility. All the children are well means that life is good. It means that the daily struggles for existence do not preclude proper caring for the young. And so I wonder if every adult among us, parent and non-parent alike, felt an equal weight for the daily care and protection of all the children in our community. I wonder if we could truly say without hesitation, the children are well. Yes, all the children are well. And I feel better tonight knowing that the answer is yeah, it's happening. So what would it be like if every school board meeting started with an answer to how are the children? If the proposed policy truly protects the children, then yes,
Ma'am, thank
go.
you for your time.
Don't start getting nervous. Don't get nervous tonight. I'm glad these brothers here tonight, so they need to know the truth. Like what she was talking about, because she called me about, I thought she was joking when she said that principal said you cannot visit that school. I mean, it's right there in the school code that you got to let these parents come in these schools and they can be in that classroom. They can't roam the building. And I called him. I said, I want to visit a school. He said, you can't do that. I said, is that a policy for the school or just the district of your school? He said, that's a policy for this school right here. And I mean, you guys know that, what the policy is. And then when she complained about it, you didn't even call her back to even discuss it with her. So don't try to fake now with these brothers here now that y'all trying to do the right thing, because you're not. Now they address these students' issues. I'm down here to discuss the issue with the staff. And it's the same thing. When they didn't mention about these kids, the reason why they have a hard time learning is the same thing with these black staff. They're not going to tell the truth. A lot of these staff here privately would tell you that this microaggression by these white staff affects them, so it affects the kids too. If you look at all these students here, you're going to see the black students are performing the worst. Because you know why? Because they are the targets of the microaggression that goes on. Now, another issue I got here, now these guys deal with the bad kids, the behavior. I'm talking about the good kids that still have a hard time getting in those Thurgood Marshall schools. Now, in the elementary school, that I've been saying for 5 years, it's only 14 kids out of 365 kids, 14. In the middle school, it's 20 out of 400 and something. But yet, you won't have a conversation about what we need to do to get more black students in those schools. Now, we did a good job with the Spanish students now, because they got like maybe 60. It's like maybe 3 times that. Now, the principal said, well, you know what, Miss Naylor, you need to talk to Dr. Reed. Okay, fine. So I talked to Dr. Reed about it. The man won't even call me back. He can say, man, niggas say, Miss Naylor, you crazy. I'm not talking to you. Just call and do something. But we know why he won't do it, because his boss right here said, don't talk to that man. That's not a good way to prove that you're trying to be advocating for these kids. If we all fighting for these same kids, then why we can't talk then? Why? Because this superintendent right here, he likes dealing with certain black men. And I'm telling you guys, when y'all go to this man, when somebody want to hear, he's going to shut y'all out too, because that's how they operate. They've been doing that. This been going on for years, decades of the same foolishness. This man been in this job here between 3 presidents. And nothing changed. Now it's getting to the point now with Donald Trump. Now a lot of stuff we do with these black kids. Now you get a lawsuit. Now if you say I'm helping black kids, now some white organization gonna try to sue you.
We are now on to the Planning Committee. Is there a motion and a second to approve 5A?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? I have a question, 5A, in the executive summary. Under the problem and opportunities, so School Code Section 1017 requires the school board to post a summary of the statement of affairs in local newspapers prior to December 1 each year. School districts are eligible to petition the State Board of Education for approval of waivers or modifications of the State Board of Education rules or modification of school code mandates for the following reasons: to meet the intent of mandate in a more effective, efficient, and economic manner, to stimulate innovations, or to improve student performance. Can you elaborate a little more on the stimulate innovations, some examples of that?
That wouldn't be why we were applying for it. The reason we're applying for it is the first one, to meet the intent of the mandate in a more effective, efficient, and economical manner. That's the reason that we're doing it. Okay, so, but since it's here, can you give some examples of innovations? Okay, thank you. That's
no problem.
Not the reason we're doing it, so.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, Mr. Brown. Is there a motion and a second to approve item 5B? Yeah, please call the roll. Thank you.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second to approve 5B?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay. Did you say something? Okay. So I also notice on B, in regards to the Cybersecurity Pilot Award. So just to rapidly get through this. So after, so the Rockford Public Schools applied for the FCC's Cybersecurity Pilot Program and was selected as one of the 707 national participants and 2,737 applicants. So this will benefit all schools, correct?
Yes, that will, President Pearson. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And would this ultimately be placed into the Performance and Monitoring Committee going forward?
Yes, it will. We have several federal requirements for reporting for this pilot program as well.
Okay, and after the pilot program, there's a cost, correct?
Yes, if we determine to continue with this program, yes, there will be a cost to the district. It would be 2028. As we continue to evaluate this program, we'll look at other efficiencies within our cybersecurity posture and our different programs that we have in place to figure out how to fit this in if this is going to be successful for us.
Okay, thank you very much. Please call the roll.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Is there a motion and a second to approve item 5C?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Just a little bit. So I understand that there was a donation for simulator, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. So to move forward, there will be a cost associated with this, correct?
I'd want to follow up on that. I don't remember having that as a piece of the executive summary that was provided.
Okay, so.
That was not my understanding that there would be a recurring cost. I thought it was, my understanding is it's a one-time, but I'd be happy to follow up on that.
Okay. So Rockford Public Schools apply for, oh no, that's not the one I want. I want 5. So C, in the problem and opportunity. One moment. There we go. Executive summary. So Thurgood Marshall has been selected to have a SIA flight simulator donated to our flight space class. The class is a part of our project Lead the Way curriculum, PLTW. That's the acronym for it. Having this professional grade simulator will enhance students' hands-on. So there is a link under under the background, total donation amount. So while it doesn't exceed 3,000, on the link, it has, so I guess going forward, there would be costs too. Well, you can purchase a sim. So will the sims be coming with it, or that was a link that was uploaded? Or is it?
I believe what is being donated is the actual hardware of the flight simulator.
Okay, so then we would have to purchase the sims.
It is a sim.
Okay. Well,
A sim is a flight simulator, so what is being donated is a flight simulator.
Okay, so further down, it talks about the link that was connected had 3 different categories, so that's really what I was referring to. So the return on investment for donations that require annual maintenance. This is a question that was related to the question. How will you budget this for maintenance? Annual maintenance will not be necessary as replacement parts can be budgeted with the school budget fund. So this is something that we have already, how is it already, is it already included in the budget? And I'm asking because we know finances is gonna be really slim, or so we're gonna add this to the budget?
That would be a determination that they would make as they continually improve the scope and the sequence of the curriculum that they're providing in that Project Lead the Way course on Earth and Space.
Can you repeat that?
Each year, as the schools are going to review their budget and they're going to look at their curricular needs for the courses that they would offer, they would make those determinations on what curricular items, or in this case, a flight simulator, or the hardware that they would be prioritizing for each year. In terms of how frequently and how much that cost would be, I would need to get back to you on that item.
Okay, so it looks like on the reporting back, for donations that require annual maintenance, and how the staff will be responsible and to sustain year over year hasn't been anticipated. So this will be placed in the committee for performance and monitoring as well.
Typically not. I mean, this is a building purchase. This is a donation to a building, and the building would just, if the building chooses not to continue with the maintenance, then they would just not fund it with their building budget, and then they would either donate it to somebody else or get rid of it. But this is not a cost that district is going to take on as a whole. It would come out of Marshall's building level budget, which all principals have discretionary funds to.
Okay.
Sorry, my voice is going on me.
That's okay, no problem. I just wanted that to be explained. I appreciate that. Please call the roll.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We are now on Governance Committee. Is there a motion and a second to approve items 6A through 6D?
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Yes.
So our policy regarding law enforcement that we have from 1 or 2 meetings ago, 3 meetings ago that we revised, the policy 6D is in addition, correct? Like it's a additional policy to further clarify what we already have a policy on, but this more specifically outlines part of that policy.
I can't remember what we revised.
It's the law enforcement policy,
right.
specifically
So this one, actually, we moved our prior law enforcement policy into an administrative regulation because it was much more detailed. So we still have that in addition to this, if that makes sense.
It does. Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions?
I don't have a question, but I did want to thank legal for preparing that policy that we had asked for. So thank you.
Absolutely. So that was A through D. Are there any items? Please call the roll.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Are there any items in section 6 that board members wish to have?
We kind of missed it.
Yeah, we did.
And on the next page.
So we're going to continue our discussion regarding the superintendent search. We have with us this evening Dr. Carmen Ayala from Illinois Association of School Boards, here to provide additional information about search process.
Good evening, and guests. My name is Carmen Ayala. I'm with the Illinois Association of School Boards, and if I look familiar to you, yes, I was the former state superintendent of education. So after 40 years of experience in education, I just couldn't let go. And so now I'm with the Illinois Association of School Boards, supporting districts as they search for their CEOs. And so tonight I'll be going over our process and answering any questions that you might have. A little bit of background on myself. I mentioned 40 plus years. I started teaching when I was 10. I have worked as a teacher, as an a teacher for 11 years, and as an administrator for 29 years. I've been a director, an assistant superintendent, a district superintendent, and the state superintendent. All of my experience has been in large unit districts, just like Rockford. Actually, I started my teaching in Chicago Public Schools many, many moons ago. But I understand large unit districts. They are very different than the 852 school districts we have in Illinois, and I'll speak a little bit to that in a minute. With me tonight is a colleague that will be assisting in the search for Rockford's new superintendent, Dr. Vic Zimmerman. You want to introduce yourself, please?
Thanks, thanks, Carmen. Vic Zimmerman. I'm a retired superintendent, 19 years in the big chair. I retired after 2022. This is my third search season with IASB superintendent searches. And I also work for IASA, supporting first, second, and third year superintendents. So glad to be here.
So the Illinois State Board of Education is the market leader in Illinois for superintendent searches. We have a very strong national presence as well, and I'll go over that in a few minutes. There are 60 years of executive search experience with the association, with 300 years of combined consultant experiences in Illinois. All of our consultants in the executive search department are retired superintendents. They are not current superintendents, also working to help in searches, but they are all retired superintendents dedicated to this process. We follow the foundational principles of effective governance, which many of you have participated in, and understand that the board employs the superintendent. And it's a very, very important decision and a process to go through. We are the only organization whose primary goal is to serve the Illinois Boards of Education and Illinois Public Schools. Rockford School District 205 is already a member of the Illinois Association of School Boards, and so the search process is something that you have access to and that we would be happy to support you with. Rockford School District 205, your superintendent, is also a member of the Illinois Association of School Administrators. And they, after you select your new leader, they provide the mentoring and the coaching of your new superintendent for up to 3 years. And that is all a part of your membership. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our recruiting and how we recruit. We have partnerships, and you see some of the partnerships here that we engage with and network with across Illinois in specific. We also have a robust nationwide network. There is the National Affiliation of Superintendent Searches. What does that mean? That is an association or an affiliation that serves 39 states across the United States, and Illinois Association of School Boards is a part of that affiliation. So when we post a superintendent position, that gets out to 39 states. In addition to that, we will be transitioning to a new application solution called Revelus, and that is used in 17 different states. So the position for the new superintendent of Rockford School District 205 will be known across the nation through our networking capabilities. We have something that is very unique in comparison to other search organizations. We have a professional network of over 7,000 individuals. They're educational leaders. They are the current and aspiring superintendents who have requested to receive our vacancy notices. And when we do an announcement of vacancy, that gets posted and pushed out to over 7,000 members in Illinois as well as outside of Illinois, at least minimally 4 times during the search process. I want to touch a little bit upon the Illinois Association of School Board searches nationwide. And I've already mentioned that we're a part of the National Affiliation of Superintendent Searches. And you may be asking yourselves, well, how does IASB do with large unit districts? A little bit of trivia on Illinois. I know a lot about Illinois public schools. 852 school districts. Only about 6 of them have student enrollment of over 20,000 students. Most of the school districts in the state of Illinois have 5,000 or less. And so we have done searches in districts like Peoria with 13,000 students, Champaign, Edwardsville, all of them large districts. But to the size of Rockford School District 205, I mentioned 6 school districts. 4 of those school districts did their superintendent selection from an internal process. I personally know the superintendent of Plainfield 202, which at the time had about 29,000 students. I actually hired him as the director when I was there, and he became and is now the sitting superintendent. Susan Harkin, who is the superintendent of Community Unit School District 300, I worked with her many, many moons ago when I was in Carpentersville, and she was the payroll clerk and moved her way up through the system to become the superintendent. So 4 out of those 6 large unit districts have been selecting their superintendents from within the ranks, and that's something that is important to recognize. We, in 24-25, there are about 100 superintendent searches that happen on an annual basis, on average. So what does that mean in terms of searches and who does them? We have done 25 searches in comparison to, for example, 8 searches by BWP, 3 searches by HYA, and 3 searches by school exec. What happens is that a lot of our smaller districts, they do their own searches because of the small community of knowing their potential candidates and because of some cost. We then do half of the remaining searches. So we do the largest number of searches in the state of Illinois. Now, I mentioned to you that I've worked in large unit districts, something that is unique to the Illinois Association of School Boards, something that I'm very proud of, and something that you will receive as a benefit of using the Illinois Association of School Boards. I already mentioned that I was the state superintendent of Illinois, serving over 2 million students in 852 school districts. I worked in 2 of the 6 largest school districts, unit school districts in Illinois. And so I know the intricate nuances that a large district has to address and what the leader needs to be able to do in comparison to a small or a middle-sized district. And that is something that in my analysis of candidates and conversations with candidates, I will be able to draw out some of those nuances to determine if that potential candidate would be a good fit for the Rockford School District 205. I also have a passion for equity, and I heard that word quite frequently this evening. And I also recognize that Rockford is a very diverse district. And that is my experience that I can bring to the district with the specific questions and screening and analysis of the candidates to assure that they have the potential and the experience to be able to serve a community like Rockford. As I mentioned, the National Affiliation of School Boards Superintendent Searches reaches out to 39 states, and our new Rebelus system reaches out to 17 additional states. So what I'd like to do for the next couple of minutes is have my colleague, Dr. Zimmerman, go through the specific search components so that you can see all of the things that we would be able to do and how we would be able to serve the Rockford School District.
Thank you, Carmen. So we would certainly be excited to work with the Rockford School Board on their soup search. I would argue that this is probably one of the most important things you'll do as a school board. Whether your school district has 20,000 students, 2,000 students, or 200 students, there's 7 board members that make a decision on who their next superintendent's going to be. And most school boards and districts utilize input from stakeholders along the way. So that's what we're presenting to you tonight. So the pieces of our base search, along with some optional pieces that we do recommend that you guys have picked up on and are included in our proposal. The first piece is a dedicated search consultant. That'll be Dr. Ayala. I'll be here to assist her. I've been a lead on 10 searches during this school year. So I'll be here to assist Dr. Ayala as the lead search consultant. The second piece is clarify the search components, which we're going through tonight, and then hopefully you'll take action on the proposal that we'll share with you. Also articulate a timeline going forward. Since you know Dr. Jarrett is retiring at the end of next year, you would be in the first wave of superintendent searches. There are basically 3 waves of searches over the course of a school year. It's those districts that know their superintendent is leaving at the end of next year. So right now is when they're hiring search firms and talking about timelines and those types of things. Those searches typically end in November, December. So that's probably what the timeline will look like for you guys. The second wave would be those districts who lost their superintendent during the first wave. Maybe they were hired by another district, or some school districts who or superintendents who decide that things aren't working well for either party, and they decide they're going to break up, and they're going to lose their soup at the end of the school year. And then the third wave would be that wave starting in late April. Districts that have lost their superintendent to another district, typically in the second wave of searches. So Dr. Ayala will work with you guys to develop a timeline. The next piece is we provide you with survey links to send out to faculty and staff, parents and community members that ask about the ideal characteristics that those survey takers are looking for in their next superintendent. Also, that survey would include some open-ended questions about what the district does well, what the district could do better, and then other spots for comments. That survey provides a quantitative view of what the stakeholders are looking for and the board is looking for in the ideal characteristics of the next superintendent. So we would, once that survey closes, we would tally those up and create a report to the board that shares the results of that survey. The first optional piece, which we are proposing to include in your search, is focus groups. So focus groups, we would come to the district and meet with faculty and staff members, community members, other stakeholders, and get more of a qualitative view of what they're looking for. It's more of a conversational situation as opposed to the qualitative information that we glean from the surveys that are mailed out. So that is what we call focus groups. And then once again, we would include that information and results from the focus group in a report to the school board. So those two surveys, the survey piece and the focus group piece, are then put together to create an ideal candidate profile. So we're looking at 6 to 8 bullet points that the district is looking for in the next superintendent. That ideal candidate profile then is what the applicants and potential candidates would look through when they're deciding if they wanted to apply for the position. And then the ideal candidate profile is included in the announcement of vacancy. The announcement of vacancy includes how to apply for the position, information on the financials of the district, information on board members in the district, information on what the communities offer, and those types of things, and also the ideal candidate profile. And we would share that with the school board for approval at a future meeting. Once that is approved by the school board, the announcement of vacancy is approved by the school board, then we would post the position and advertise on our website, also on the ISA Job Bank, as Dr. Ayala pointed out, also on the NAS website, to make sure we are reaching all candidates all over the country with the opening. And then ISB also sends out informational emails with all of our job postings to over 7,500 individuals in our email database that have either signed up to receive those emails from ISB in regard to superintendent vacancies. So we do that to make sure we get the word out as far and wide as we possibly can. So once the announcement of vacancy is posted out there, the position's usually posted for 6 to 8 weeks, sometimes 10, depending upon how the timeline lays out. All applications would be collected by IASB. We would verify the qualifications and licensure of all applicants. We would then analyze the applications and conduct screening interviews with those candidates those applicants that we feel best measure up to your ideal candidate profile. And then we would do Zoom screening interviews with those applicants that we feel measure up to the ideal candidate profile. Once those screening interviews are complete, then our team, Carmen and myself, and probably a couple of the other consultants, would then select and finalize a slate of candidates to bring to the board for interviews. We would also verify the references, make reference calls, limited background inquiries to the references that are included in their applications. So the slate of candidates then would come to the board for first round interviews. We would then meet with the board to discuss what the interviews look like, questions you can ask, questions you can't ask, what the structure of the interview is going to look like for the first round, and then protocols in regard to how do you narrow down your field. Let's say if we bring you 6 final candidates to interview, how are you going to narrow that down? Because ultimately you're going to just hire one superintendent. So we need to talk about how do you get from 6 or 8 in the first round of interviews down to 2 or 3 finalists. We would also then discuss with the board what the second round of interviews could look like. There's all different ways that second round could go. Dr. Isle and the consultants will discuss that with the Board of Education and determine what the second round would look like. Part of that second round would include another optional piece, which is included in our proposal this evening, stakeholder group interviews. So the board would narrow down from first round to 2 or 3 finalists or semifinalists, and then we would come and facilitate stakeholder group interviews. So that would be a group of usually 20 to 25 stakeholders. It could be faculty and staff members. It could be community members, community leaders, whatever the board decides they want to include in that stakeholder group. And then the candidates, the semifinal candidates, whether it's 2 or 3 or however many you narrow down to, would then be interviewed by the stakeholder groups. What's key there is that we are really adamant with the stakeholder groups that they aren't selecting the superintendent. They aren't ranking the superintendent semifinalists. They're just providing individual feedback to the consultants that we organize and then share back to the board. So you have information on the candidates and how the stakeholders felt that each candidate measured up to the ideal candidate characteristics that, again, started in the focus groups and survey piece that are included in the announcement of vacancy. So that's another piece of information that then the board can utilize to make their determination on who they're going to eventually offer the position to. Part of our search fee also includes a post-search board superintendent workshop. This would typically be in July or August after the superintendent starts the position on July 1st. One of our outreach and training directors from IASB would meet with the Board of Education and the new superintendent to talk about board goals, board norms, communication. The key there is that we want the superintendent, the new superintendent, and the board to all be on the same page on a positive step when that superintendent starts in July going forward. There we go.
Thank you, Vic.
Yep.
By the way, we will provide the survey in English and in Spanish. And if there is another major language, we would work with you so that survey can be translated. Before the survey would go out, those survey questions would be shared with the board, and you can certainly adjust, revise, or add any other specific questions that you would want to include in the survey. The survey gets pushed out to staff, gets pushed out to high school students, pushed out to the community. And that is to gather as much community input and feedback so that the board can begin to determine what are those characteristics that they want to see in their next leader. So the community feedback, the staff feedback is an important piece of this process. We have a price for you of $20,250, and the reason why that is such a low price for a district with almost 28,000 students is because you are already a member of the Illinois Association of School Boards, and your membership dues already supports the Executive Searches Department. These are costs that would be in addition to some of the things that we would be doing. And that's the base. There is additional costs, and we are recommending that you have focus groups, as Vic mentioned. We would have focus groups with staff, focus groups, if you would like, with students, focus groups with community members, your legislative representatives, and other key community individuals. The focus group participants are selected by the district. And having worked in districts of this size, I would recommend a random selection so that there is fairness and there is equity in the representation of who participates in the focus group. You want to make sure that you have elementary, middle, and high school. You want to make sure that you have the different groups of students and programs represented. So there are a lot of diversity elements that I would help you work through with you in terms of the selection process of the focus group participants. And then the other piece that we are also recommending is once we narrow the candidates down and you narrow the candidates down to your finalists, we recommend that you bring together, again, groups of individuals excuse me, groups of individuals, and we will have a set of questions that you will know about, and we will ask the candidates the questions in the presence of administrators, in the presence of staff, in the presence of community, and they will provide feedback that we will collect. And that's another piece of the puzzle. As Vic mentioned, they don't get to rank or tell you which superintendent or which candidate needs to be the next superintendent. That's your decision, and we make that very clear. And so we give you the focus groups, the survey results, the feedback from the stakeholder group. All of these are pieces to the puzzle for the critical decision that this board will make. And so we have a, in the packet, you'll have a copy of the contract. We've worked very closely with your own general counsel to make sure that we were including the things that you as a district wanted included. And the contract will not exceed $35,000. So there is some cushion in there for the focus groups to cover those and also for the stakeholder groups. But the base of everything else that is included, the survey, the analysis of the candidates, the information provided to the board, the interview questions and the support with the protocols for that, all of that is a part of the base contract. Again, Vic mentioned the follow-up training, which is something that is unique to the Illinois Association of School Boards. It's called Starting Off on the Right Track. And when I became a district superintendent, I went through that training with my Board of Education, and it was very, very beneficial and helpful.
Okay, to wrap up, and then we'll see if you guys have any questions. So we work for the school board. We don't work for the candidates. We don't select your superintendent. That's your job. We just facilitate the process for you along the way and assist you with protocols and heading down the path and staying on the timeline so you can make the best selection you possibly can. Over the last 4 years, 95% of our superintendents have remained in their positions through their first contract or 3 years. The average in the state is just under 3 years for superintendents staying in one district. Of course, south of I-80, that number's much larger. A couple of other pieces, our statement of assurance. We're with you until you hire a soup. So we're gonna, Carmen will work on the timeline. It will probably end in November, December-ish. If at the end of that initial timeline, November, December, if you don't come up with the superintendent you want to hire, or if you do offer the position and the contract doesn't work out, we'll repost the position in the spring. If you don't come up with somebody then, we'll do it. We'll help you find an interim, and then we'll do it the next year at no additional fee. So that's our statement of assurance. We're with you till you hire a superintendent. Our guarantee of services: if your superintendent leaves for any reason in the first year, we'll redo your search the following year for no additional fee. As Carmen said earlier, our consultant team of 6 consultants have led nearly 300 searches. We've worked with 83 different counties since 2001, 656 school districts, so about 3/4 of the school districts in the state have done their superintendent searches with the School Board Association. Again, Illinois Association of School Boards is your advocate. You're a member of the association. We're a division of the association. We're excited for the opportunity to be able to work with one of the largest districts in the state, and hopefully we'll be able to partner with you to ensure your district finds an exceptional and best fit leader going forward in Rockford schools. With that, we'll open it up to any questions that you guys have.
Before we get started with the questions, I certainly wanted, first of all, the presentation. There were the community had many questions with the announcement of the superintendent making his decision. And as it was already stated, this is huge. And I think that this, no doubt, is the biggest effort the board collectively have had to take on. So I really would like to hear from the board any questions, any concerns in regards to the search. I think this is a really good time to get any understanding or clarity on any questions or concerns. Thank you.
While you ponder that, I did forget to mention, I will also conduct focus groups in Spanish because you have a sizable Spanish-speaking population, so that, again, it's the equity warrior in me. I want to make sure that everyone has a voice and is included in this process.
Mr. Carpenter. You can go first. Okay, Mr. Carpenter.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Do you think it would be beneficial for us to hear from other firms that provide superintendent searches?
Absolutely not.
Thanks.
They don't compare to what we have to offer you as already members of the Illinois Association of School Boards. There may be some similarities, but here is what I do know and what I can share with you, and it is not intended in any shape, way, or fashion to discredit any of the search firms. We have a base that was quoted to you that is all-inclusive. So as many times as I need to come out to Rockford, that's included. There is no additional cost for mileage or for days or for supplies or materials or for administrative support. $20,250,000 is $20,250,000 all-inclusive. You won't get that with some of the other firms, I can tell you that. The experience that I bring to the table that I've mentioned with respect to working and understanding and knowing large unit districts is something that I think would be something that is critically important to this board and to this community. And so, absolutely not. We're the best thing in town.
And so if we heard from other firms, we'd come to that conclusion ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
just making sure. And if we put out a request for a proposal, you'd submit a proposal, or this contract maybe?
We have a proposal for you to consider, but if there were a proposal that would go out that you would want us to submit to, then we would be happy to do so. But in your packets, you have a copy of, on the left side, sorry, I was a former kindergarten teacher, so a lot of times my left is your right when I face you. You have a copy of the proposal summary as well as the services agreement. There is an addendum that was done with conversation between your general counsel and our general counsel that is included in the packet. You have 3 different ways that the announcement of vacancy can be done. Your choice. Some districts like the full page, the half page, or the pamphlet, or a combination of that. We'd be happy to provide that. On those nights where you can't seem to get some sleep, You have the entire steps in the search process for you. You also have my resume as well as Dr. Zimmerman's resume. So all of that is included in the packet, but I would be happy to provide any additional information that you may need.
Thank you.
Vice President McCall.
Thank you, Madam President. Along the same lines as Mr. Carpenter, I think that we need to visit other search firms. Just, everything else that come across the board, we have to take bids and different things like that just for consistency. And, you may be number one, you may have the best deal, but we just want to make sure that that the process is along the lines as other things that come, decision that needs to be made by the board.
It is the most important decision that a board makes.
Yep.
So.
Anyone else have any questions, concerns? So, do you have a question? Okay, so there are pros and cons to an RFP, and I take it that we have researched that. On the topic of bidding, so we know that there have been many questions that have come up in regards to bidding. Just the items that we voted on this evening, there was, so let's look at the process. A bid, say, if we go to the bidding process, on every bid that I noticed, and we can review it, it was chosen by, it looks like it was chosen by the lowest bid. And sometimes bids go out for a day. Some are invited to bid. There's different ways that we've done bids. Some didn't bid at all. And when I asked the question, I was told because we already had a relationship. If I'm incorrect on that, please clarify. Bids for designers didn't go out because some designers, because we had a relationship with them. So the reason why I asked IASB, one, it was under governance. And I felt like being told that we were behind the 8 ball in selecting a superintendent, getting a qualified candidate, that was a signal of urgency to make sure that we had things in place. So I really would, I appreciate what I've heard so far. If you have any reservations or any concerns, please speak up. Because if we're using, and then that puts us in a position that we will to question and examine every bid going forward. Ms. Stanford?
With this being the biggest decision that we're going to make as a board, I would agree that we need to hear from more than one search firm.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Stanford.
I also agree with everybody else.
Very good.
So since we're, I agree that as one of the biggest decisions that we need to make, we should look at more than one firm.
Thank you very much. And we will definitely proceed in doing that. And so let's have more discussion about what that looks like. So we put out for a bid. So who's going to then decide who gets the bid? So it's going to come back to us, and are we going to have a presentation from every person that give a bid? Now, there was a mandatory, I read in some of the bids that were placed, a mandatory meeting. Will that be the same for this?
So there's different types of bids.
Of course.
And bid processes. One of them you spoke about were architects, engineers, and that's the professional services, and that does not go to the lowest qualified bidder. As far as construction type bids, those do go to the lowest qualified. So it's not always just the lowest price. You also have to meet the qualifications, and it's the lowest responsible bidder is how it's described. In this kind of process, it would be an RFQ where you would put the specs out. You would have a team who analyzes the specifications. And for those that meet those specifications, you would invite them in for an interview. Basically, it would look very similar to what we saw tonight. They would come in for the interview, and then you would rate the presenters and the information you receive. It wouldn't necessarily be the lowest price that similar to anything else. It has to be, they have to meet the criteria that you set forth in the specifications, and so that's what you would rate it on. So I think if you're going to do something like that, if you're looking for that, we would prepare the bid specifications, send that. I would suggest that we have a party of two so we don't violate any Open Meetings Act.
Absolutely.
Of two board members who would get involved in assisting with that process. And all of you, of course, we could send all of the specs to for any input that you may have. But we would want to get those out relatively quickly. And our purchasing department under Greg would also assist with reaching out to the known players. I don't know.
Well, I mentioned 3 of them in my
okay.
presentation, so.
Yeah, I'm guessing there's probably under 10 that are the major ones, I'm guessing. So we would reach out to those entities, informing them of the process, and putting together a timeline too. So that's what we would need from you all.
Okay, well, I am certainly supportive of it for us to get a bid on it. Can you forward this presentation?
I can, yep.
Okay, because it wasn't, and I didn't talk to, I don't know if Lori mentioned that it requested it to be uploaded or not. So we will definitely welcome IASB to respond when the bid come forth. Let's be very clear. We understand how important this is, and this is a process, and so and it's time consuming. So we need to be committed to every component of this, and we don't want to rush. We don't want to rush. So if it's August and we haven't completed the process, we should continue the process to make sure that we get the best and qualified search firm. So you also mentioned there's a pamphlet in here regarding the National Association or Affiliation Superintendent Searchers. So what is the difference between NAS and any other? Every search firm have access to national, correct?
Maybe, maybe not. I doubt it. They would have to be at the National Affiliation of Superintendent Searches are the school board associations comprise the National Affiliation of Superintendent Searches. So a private search firm wouldn't necessarily be a member of NAS. There are 39 associations of school boards associations that are members of NAS. And we share amongst the 39 states and associations the postings that we have. And that's the network that we have across the U.S. I doubt very much that a private firm would have that level of networking and outreach. In addition to that, I mentioned the application system that we are transitioning to and will be in come July. That is 17 states who share an application solution that individuals will see that Rockford is looking for a new superintendent. There are no private search firms that have access to that, okay? And so we have a very robust outreach program. Many of the private firms may have consultants across the U.S., but they don't come close to 39 states. They just don't. They're not that large, unless you go with a corporate kind of a search firm, which is something that a CPS would probably do, right? It's a different ball game at that stage. And so that's why I said we are the best thing in town for the purpose of helping you to select the next superintendent.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time, and it's also a benefit of ours to even have them come to present. So we certainly appreciate you coming. We will not vote on it this evening. We will proceed with a bidding for search firm, and we will go through whatever necessary steps that we need to. I'm sure that we'll be in touch since we have membership with IASB. Thank you for all that you have done this far and continue to do. We certainly look forward to working with you in other aspects. Absolutely. If it is not the superintendent search.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
And I just want to echo the phases with your bidding process, getting the bid specs together, getting the presentations for other searches. A pivotal time is that early school year time in terms of the best candidates. That's the first wave. You want to keep that in mind in terms of your pacing and the work that you want to accomplish. You don't want to miss that opportunity because it is the bulk of the candidates that are drawn during that time of the year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We are now on to...
I guess, since that we're on that subject still, I mean, do we want to talk about the plan for putting together the request for proposals? And
so,
like Attorney Hoadley suggested, coming up with a couple people to figure out what needs to be included in that.
Okay, so I'm open to that. The governance committee is typically myself and Vice President McCall. So myself and how many other board members are interested? All of us are interested. Okay, so yeah, so the specs will go out to everyone. Paul excuse me, Mr. Carpenter, actually did some research, and I appreciate that. You did some research, you communicated with me, and so I will select Mr. Carpenter.
And how do you know I didn't do research?
Well, I haven't heard from you about the matter. Did you?
I mean, but no, you can't make that, a criteria.
I didn't make it necessarily a criteria.
You did when you selected.
Okay, so we're not going to go back and forth about this. So, because it will open up a whole nother can of worms. So if you and Mr. Carpenter want to have a discussion among yourself, that is absolutely fine with me. I will welcome anyone.
Could we have a deadline where all board members send an email to Lori, for example, by set time with specs or something, so everyone is contributing, but 2 people are ultimately responsible for gathering or something?
Absolutely.
Like that, so everybody has input, everybody is included, not that we wouldn't be included along the way, but everyone's voice is heard.
Absolutely.
And we don't violate Open Meetings Act by doing it that way.
Definitely. It would be sent individually. We don't want to take any chances of that. And Mr. Carpenter and Vice President McCall can have that conversation. And just let me know. You go ahead, Vice President McCall. Please do. Anyone else have any questions or concerns?
Is there, did we put a timeline when we need to get our qualifications to you?
I would suggest by the end of the week.
Okay.
And I will get that out to you first thing tomorrow.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns in regards to this matter? Okay, we are now on to the performance and monitoring consent portion of our meeting. May I have a motion and a second to approve items in section 7?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any consent items in section 7 that board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Ms. Haley?
Oh, no. I did have a question, though. Can I ask a question about J?
7J?
Yeah, it's the security one.
Sure.
I just have a question. I understand that the RFP went out for the security and Securitas was chosen. How many security guards do we have across the district?
Ms. Haley, we have approximately 71 security guards. Some of those are floaters in some of our buildings, but it covers our high schools and middle schools.
Okay. And I know that it was budgeted in the amount, when we consider the compensation for this contract, that amount includes, like, benefits for those security guards? Is that what goes into that? Is that why it's so high?
That sure does, yeah. So the rate we have is a blended rate for all of our guards. That includes the benefits and compensation for those employees, and there's some administrative overhead built into that cost as well.
Okay, that was just my question. Thank you.
So I just want to put a quick reminder. So on the consent agenda, we'll pull items, and when the item is pulled, we can have discussion or questions at that time, just for the rhythm, because just so we can, stay in the flow of things. So any other questions or concerns? That's okay, Ms. Haley. Please call the roll.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
I'm saying yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
We are now on the planning and development consent portion of our meeting. May I have a motion and a second to approve the items in Section 8?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any consent items board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Please call the roll.
Ms. Stanford,
Yes.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Mr. Schubert,
Yes.
Ms. McCall,
Yes.
Ms. Bennett,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Ms. Haley.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
We are now on the governance consent portion of our meeting. May I have a motion and a second to approve items listed in Section 9?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any consent items in Section 9 that board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration?
Yes, item C.
Item C? Thank you. Please call the roll on items that have not been pulled.
Ms. Pearson,
Yes.
Mr. Schubert,
Yes.
Ms. McCall,
Yes.
Ms. Bennett,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Ms. Haley,
Yes.
Ms. Stanford.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Consent items C have been pulled for separate consideration. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I just have another question regarding C. This is for the hard-to-fill positions. I know that we are giving an incentive for teachers who we're looking to fill hard-to-fill positions, and we're requiring them to have 3 years with that incentive. My question is, if a teacher doesn't work out within those 3 years, what happens with that incentive?
Lori, do you want to, we just in terms of how we recover in terms of how do we recover the money? So we have a collections process for that, similar to the housing incentive, correct?
That's correct.
We do. I don't have all of our different incentives or promissory notes memorized, so I'm not exactly sure the exact terms of the promissory notes that they sign. But typically, if they don't stay, irrespective of whatever reason, whether they are terminated or whether they leave on their own, they are required to pay back. But Mr. Pope is more familiar with this particular promissory note.
So yeah, that promissory note for the hard-to-fill incentive is prorated based on months served. So when they sign the promissory note, they essentially sign for 36 months or 3 years. So every month of service, 136 comes off of what essentially could be paid back.
Thank you, Mr. Pope.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions or discussion? If not, please call the roll.
Mr. Schubert,
Yes.
Ms. McCall,
Yes.
Ms. Bennett,
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter,
Yes.
Ms. Haley,
Yes.
Ms. Stanford,
Yes.
Ms. Pearson.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
We are now on to the closed session consent agenda, including resolution regarding reclassification of certified administrator, notice of a remedy, Mr. James Hanson, resolution to terminate probationary teacher, Brianna Mays, appointment of Max Metlock, 10-month elementary dean, appointment of Emily Daub as 10-month dean, appointment of Sophia Christopherson as 10-month dean assigned to Fairview Early Childhood Center, appointment of Karen Schmitz as 12-month principal assigned to Bayer Early Childhood Center, appointment of Ronald, I may mispronounce this, Kugligowski as 12-month principal assigned to Hillman Elementary School, appointment of Michael Ria as 12-month Director of Special Education. Resolution regarding reclassification notice. Employment agreement of attorney Yashika Goldsmith as General Counsel, and HR report. May I have a motion and a second to approve items in Section 10, closed session consent?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any closed session consent items board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Ms. Bennett?
Letter A and letter L.
And A, and I'm pulling J. I cancel J. A and L. Please call the roll for items that have not been pulled.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We'll now take up, please call the roll on the items that have been. Yes, please call the roll on item A, separating them.
Ms. Bennett?
No.
Mr. Carpenter?
No.
Ms. Haley? No. Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
No.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
The motion fails, or that's right, with 4 noes and 3 yeses.
Please call the roll on item L.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Abstain.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 abstain.
We are now on student discipline, suspension, appeals, and expulsions. H0042X25, H0051X25, H0055X, and H0054X25 are expelled for the remainder of 22-24 school year through the entire 2025-2026 school year. P147X25 expelled for the remainder year of 2024-2025 school year through first semester 2025-2026 school year. P0132X25, the expulsion is held in advance contingent upon the expulsion and advance agreement for the remainder of the 2024-2025 school year through the first semester 2025-2026 school year. B0015X25, H0035X25, and H0036X25. The expulsion is held in advance contingent upon expulsion in advance agreement for the remainder of the 2024-2025 school year through the entire 2025-2026 school year. May I have a motion and a second to approve items in Section 11, student expulsion and suspension appeals?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any items that board members wish to have pulled for separate consideration?
Yes. Item K.
Please call the roll for items not pulled.
Ms. Haley?
No. Oh, no. Sorry, yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
Closed session consent item I have been pulled for separate consideration. K, I'm sorry, for separate consideration. It's late. Please call the roll.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
No.
The motion passes with 6 yeses, 1 no.
We are now on student discipline EIAs. May I have a motion and a second to approve the items in section 12, student EIAs?
So moved.
Second.
Are there any items board member wish to have pulled for separate consideration? Please call the roll.
Ms. Pearson?
Yes.
Mr. Schubert?
Yes.
Ms. McCall?
Yes.
Ms. Bennett?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Ms. Haley?
Yes.
Ms. Stanford?
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously.
The next on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Dr. Jarrett, the floor is yours.
Before you go, Dr. Jarrett, I made an incorrect vote in the HR report. Can we read? It's item 10A.
Yeah, as long as it is identified now, according to, so. We need a motion and a second. May I have a motion and a second to redo the vote?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so you said on 10, Ms. Haley?
10A.
10A.
Okay, so A was pulled for separate consideration.
We have a question.
Sure.
I guess this is kind of a point of order. For a motion to reconsider a vote, does the person making the motion have to be on the prevailing side of the vote?
They have to be on the losing and, wait. So. So the prevailing would be the no's on that one.
But Ms. Stanford was of the yes category, correct?
Correct.
So it would, yeah.
So, in this instance, it's a mistake is what was indicated, and so I should know this. It usually is on the other side to bring it up again, but since we're still in the meeting and we haven't closed out the meeting or anything, I do think you would be correct you made the mistake, you voted no.
Correct.
Correct.
And I should have voted yes.
So who made the motion? I did. You did, so, yeah, so that's correct then. It would be on the other side.
So his point of order is the one, just for clarity, the one that made the motion, or the one that made the motion is who you're questioning, or are you questioning whether the vote can happen again? Because according to policy, it can.
My question is that whether the person that made the motion has to be on the side that had won the vote, that had prevailed on the vote. And so when Attorney Hoadley said, yes, that's correct, I'm not sure which she was referring to was correct, but.
Okay, one moment, please. So just to be clear, Ms. Haley, 10A, resolution regarding reclassification of certified administrator.
Correct.
Okay.
So Kim could make the motion then.
Okay, so I move to revote.
So we may have a, so can I get a motion and a second to reconsider?
So I.
So we have a motion, we need the second.
Second.
Thank you. So please call the roll.
Ms. McCall,
Yes.
Ms. Bennett,
No.
Mr. Carpenter,
No.
Ms. Haley,
Yes.
Ms. Stanford,
Yes.
Ms. Pearson,
No.
Mr. Schubert.
Yes.
The motion passes with 4 yeses, 3 noes.
So now we're,
No, do we need
No,
a
we're-
motion?
so we need a motion and a second to revote, so on 10A.
Can I move that or not? So moved.
Second.
Please call the roll.
Ms. Bennett,
No.
Mr. Carpenter,
No.
Ms. Haley,
Yes.
Ms. Stanford,
Yes.
Ms. Pearson,
No.
Mr. Schubert,
Yes.
Ms. McCall.
Yes.
The motion passes with 4 yeses, 3 noes.
Thank you. One moment. Yes, we were on the superintendent's report. Dr. Jarrett.
We were running out of steam with my voice here, and in this late hour, I'm going to cede all of my time to Ruth to share her perspective. Ruth, thank you for being here this evening, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. My name is Ruth Sibunghang Tamafongsa, and I'm from Auburn High School, and I'll be speaking today as a SSAC representative. First, I would like to address the ACT testing experience. Based on my own experience and feedback from my peers, the ACT experience was more stressful than expected due to ACT's part, as well as the RPS's 205 fault. But one key issue that I want to point out was the environment of the testing. Test practice need better training to ensure a calm, fair, and organized area of testing for all students. Next, I would like to highlight 2 excellent opportunities that I would like to point out that would be very beneficial for RPS 205 high school students. It's an after-school activity. It's called DECA and HOSA. It provides a real-world experience and helps other students build valuable skills and also leadership values. Let me tell you more about these clubs. So DECA is actually an international organization with over 298,000 high school members in the club. It offers students with a chance to compete in events related to business like entrepreneurship, marketing, finance, and other business fields. Students are evaluated by professionals based on their ideas and performance. HOSA is similar, but focuses on health and medical careers. Students can participate in competitions in the state. There's sectionals, and there's also nationals or internationals. So these are related as jobs or career paths that they will be going down in. Both clubs allow students to explore potential careers while developing leadership and communication skills. However, these clubs rely heavily on teachers who volunteer their time. It has become increasingly difficult to find advisors willing to stay for an after-school activity for an hour or two a week. Many clubs, including some at Auburn, have struggled or even disappeared due to lack of teacher support. We need to compensate and recognize these advisors so clubs can thrive. Lastly, I would like to recognize the progress of the BAGS program, and it's an incredible and initiative program. I love to see that high school students or SSAC members can be involved with the BAGS program, maybe having a big sibling program or a mentorship program, helping these to improve experiences for these kids. And I would like to highlight the progress they've made in the BAGS program. And that's all my time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Ruth. And I will turn it back over to Board President Pearson.
Thank you. Thank you, Ruth, for such an awesome observation. We certainly appreciate it. I do apologize that I did not master your last name before ending, but we certainly appreciate the feedback that you provided. The next item on the agenda provides the opportunity for board members to discuss discussion. Are there any board members that would like to have comments, action steps, other business, new business, agenda, recommendation, or any other matters to discuss? Ms. Haley?
So the resolutions window is open, and I think it will be open until June. I think you all should have received an email, maybe from IASB for the resolution. So if you're considering submitting a resolution, you think you have until June.
Absolutely. If you have not received the email, please let me know. So in terms of action steps, other business or new business, agenda recommendations, I know that globally there is a threat on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it is very, it's been the elephant in the room that we haven't discussed or haven't come up is Project 2025. And I did have Dr. Jarrett and I did touch on it in a conversation, but that's all we did was touch on it. I don't think either, one of us had really given a whole lot of thought to it at that time. But it is something that I urge board members to review, and because that we intentionally hired a chief director for DEI, and Project 2025, what I do know, does not support that. And so there is a plan for whether it is how the school board look or from A to Z that is not necessarily equitable for our students. I think at some point we need to make a stand on where we're at with that so that there is no question about it, and have further discussion and how we will approach, because sooner or later the community is going to ask questions in regards to Project 2025. and we want to have some knowledge of that. If no further business before the board, I'll take a motion and a second to adjourn. No one wants to go?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. You all have a good night. Thank you for your patience.